So I did a zombie stomp game a while back where you could stomp on zombie heads. I made one for the players. Somebody requested it. I thought it was a really good idea. So you could do like a little battle royale stomping on people's heads. Just be careful. You might have to change this particle emitter to be a little less red because some people kind of told me it might be a little too much for kids. Anyway, it'll be up to you. You're the game creator, and you can try it out. I'm going to pause the video and then start with a fresh world so that you can go along with me. All right, so I have my fresh world, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a boot to the players that allow the stomping effect. And I'm going to go to workspace, hit the plus sign, hit an A, accessory. I'm going to call this boot. All right, in the boot, I'm going to add a part. So I'll just hit P for part. There we go. I will duplicate the part, Control D. One part is going to be a handle. One part will be the sole. All right, that's where the damage script is going to sit. So the handle, I'll make that small. 0.5 by 0.5 by 0.5. The sole, I played around with some of these sizes. You can change your size. The bigger it is, the easier it is going to be to stomp their head. So I went with 1.8, 1, and 1. Now let me get my handle. Move that. Move it up a little bit because I want the boot to go into the ground a little bit. Also, when I stomp on their head, I want to make sure and get them on the stomp. Sometimes with Roblox, if you stomp up and down on their head, you don't get it. All right, let's add a weld constraint to keep everything together. So the first part will be the handle. The second part will be the sole. All right, now on the handle, because I want to add this boot when players enter the game, I'm going to need an attachment, right? So the attachment, you can attach things to characters based on the name of the attachment. So I'll say right, you gotta spell it right though. There we go, right foot attachment. All right, nice. Let's make sure the handle and the sole can collide is off. There we go. That way it won't affect our running and our movement. I'm not going to make it invisible right away because I want to see how it looks. So I'm going to drag boot down to, where's my server storage? Server storage, right there. There's my server storage. And let's add a script to add the boot to the player when they enter the game. So say add boot. Alrighty. Now I'm going to need a couple functions. I'm going to need a function for on char added, and the character will be passed in. I'll need a function for on player added. Player will be passed in. That's where you'd add a leaderboard if you wanted one. Then I'll do a game players, dot, player added, colon, connect on player added. Then on player added, my player, I'll do a character added, and I'll connect that to on char added. Get rid of those two extra parentheses. And on my char added, I want to get the humanoid, so I can get that from a character. I'll do a wait for child, humanoid. Then I want to get my server storage, game get service, server storage, and then I'm going to get my boot from server storage. Wait for child, boot, clone it, because you want to give it to everybody. Anybody who enters the game is going to have this boot. Say hum, add accessory. That's a hard one to spell. Boot. All right, let's go in here and try it out. See how the boot looks. There we go, that's not too bad. So that's what's going to be causing the damage. You can still see that it does that funny, not quite collide thing, even though the can collide is turned off. But that's all right, this will still work. A deeper boot actually adds a little bit, makes it a little bit better for the stomping effect. All right, so we have our add boot. Let's go to our boot. Oh, you know what I also want to do? I want to, since we're here in the workspace, let's add our particle emitter for the red splatter. All right, so I just added a part to the world. I'm going to add a particle emitter to that, but I'm going to delete that part. I'm just going to use it so I can see it in the workspace. Say particle emitter, R emit. All right, make that red. Careful on how red you make this because you could get banned if it's too bloody. So it'll be up to you. You'll have to try different things. Maybe get a couple friends to comment on it. All right. 0.5, that's the lifetime of the particle. I'm going to slow it down. I think there's a drag here. Yeah, drag 2. And speed, I'll speed it up a little bit. There we go. And I'll make the spread angle a little more. Let's say 60 by 60 degrees. All right. Now I am going to disable it because I'm going to release everything in a burst. So I'm just going to take the emitter, not the part, just the emitter, and move that to server storage. All right, so the emitter's in there. Remove that part, we don't need it. That was just to make the emitter. All righty, let's see, soul. Let's go ahead and add a script to the soul of the boot. It's still in server storage. That's fine. We'll call this, if I can click it, damage. All righty, let's see, we got here. We need to get our soul. Script dot parent, and I'm going to use this last head. I'm going to keep track of the last head I stomped so I could do a little debounce. And you can stomp on other heads really quickly, but you can't stomp on the same head very quickly, right? Because you don't want to have multiple splatters for one stomp, or maybe you do, and just get rid of that. Right? Debris service. This is going to be for my emitter, so I'm going to instantiate an emitter every time I stomp on their head. So local function on touch other part. Let's get our humanoid. So other part, oops, other, there it is, part, parent, colon, find first child. That's a humanoid. We'll say if hum and other part name equals head. It's got to be a head. And last head does not equal other part. Other part name, right? No, that's good. Other part, that should work. Yeah, because everything has a head name, so that won't work. That would not help us. All right, so let's check for a force field too. We don't want to be able to stomp on it as a force field. So if not other part parent, find first child. It's a force field. Then, so this won't happen if there's a force field around them. You'll have to wait till the force field goes away. Get the last head and make it the other part. I'll say local SS for server storage, game get service, server storage, and then we'll get a local emit variable, SS, wait for child, R emit, clone it. So you can add it to the head when you stomp on them. Then the emit parent is going to be the head, which is the other part. The emit will emit 100 particles. All right. And then we're going to add that to the debris service. Add item, emit, and we'll give it a time to live for a second. After it does its emitting of the particles, it'll go away. All right, we're going to do a take damage on the humanoid that we hit, 100. Wait 4 seconds before we reset that last head. There we go. All right, now we need to get our soul touched event, connect it to on touch. Nice. Yeah, I'll shrink that down a little bit. I don't know if that makes it easier to see or harder, but at least you can get it all in one scene there. All right, let's go to our game and see if it works. We're going to have to go to the test server because we need another player. You can actually do this with zombies too, but the whole point is to check to see if it works on another player. Let me pause that while this starts up. All right, it's working. I landed on the other player. I killed him. Let's make our boot invisible, right? Let's clean that up. Go soul handle in server storage on your boot, soul and handle. Make the transparency 1. And let's try it again. Pause. And here we go. I unpaused it too early. It's all right. We'll see what's fall down on the head. Boom. Entered the game. We needed spawn points. Somebody has an unfair advantage. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, it's working pretty good. So this will be a lot easier to add a leaderboard to also for kills because you have the part and the humanoid. And the part is on your player, so it'll be a lot easier to find your player. Alrighty, well, good luck with that, and let me know if you have any questions.